Just let me greet them as well. Distinguished guests, members of the media, all protocol observed. In case I miss some very important and distinguished participants who are here, ladies and gentlemen, I must say I'm actually quite bowled over by what I've just heard this morning. I don't know what will happen then when I go and see. You know, I always tell the president that there is one thing I will attribute to him that he did to me. He taught me to be a negotiator. He assigned me to negotiate the education clause in our constitution. I was tasked with that, for the ANC, of course. But now I'm telling him of late that the second thing he has done to me was to deploy me as Minister of Science. Because I have just honestly discovered the extent to which South Africa has got really and truly advanced science and distinguished scientists who are recognized worldwide, perhaps more than we do as South Africans. What we are launching here today is really something that is very important, which gives us hope, as we say, Ithemba Labs. And does what we say as the Department of Science and Innovation, making sure that it's possible. I like to quote this of making sure that it's possible, together with my favorite quotation from Nelson Mandela, our founding president. It always seems impossible until it is done. It's my favorite quotation, and I think all that captures what we are doing here. The inauguration of this facility, the South African Isotope Facility, forms part indeed of my department's effort to enhance our existing scientific infrastructure and to advance and foster technology development and innovation in nuclear sciences and technology for the benefit of society. I should have greeted Professor Leteghe. I'm very sorry. Is it? Seteghe, sorry. Because you gave me also just, because I was curious, who uses all this that we are trying to do here? You know? I'm actually quite impressed with what you are telling us. Let me just tell this story, Ishmael, because I know you're going to say now you've written the speech till 4 a.m., then I start going all over the place. That's the advantage of being a minister, unfortunately, for you. My dear wife was a sister tutor, was a nursing sister who became a sister tutor at McCord's Hospital, those who know it, in Durban. So when the ANC got unbanned and other political organizations, they were drawn into what was called the ANC Health Committee in 1990. And she was working very closely with the late Minister of Health, Dr. Manto Shabalala Msimang. So one day she gets onto the aeroplane, she finds the minister sitting there. Say, yeah, Pumelel, we are leaving me alone. I'm being slaughtered on this HIV and AIDS matter. And all of you that were in the health committee with, you are silent, you are quiet. Then Dr. Msimang continues to say, I know you can criticize me about my beetroot and everything, and that we are not moving fast enough on providing ARVs. I was also amongst those who was critical, by the way. But he says, you know what? You will remember me even when I'm dead. You want me to take all my money, invest it into ARVs, and I have no 1 cent to research cancer in this country. And cancer is going to devastate South Africa. You will remember me even when I'm dead and gone. You know, as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking of this. You know, of course, we could have criticized the minister like ministers are criticized, myself, I am as well, for everything. But she had a point in what she was saying. And I think what we are doing here with the NRF, as I say, really gives us hope. I know that the prof says it's not only for cancer, it's for a whole range of other things that you use the isotopes. But for me, my DG knows. I've said, DG, I think that as South Africa we have capacity in the end. Maybe we may be the first to develop either a cure for cancer or effective preventative or early arresting, let me put it that way, of our cancers. Now, this NRF Ithemba Labs research facility that has, since its inception in the 1980s, distinguished itself by producing world-class research and development in accelerator-based sciences and technology is, of course, a wonderful facility. There's a Dr. Bongani who phoned this morning on SAFM. I don't know if anybody else had this. Who was very cynical about this. You know, he was following on our advert on SAFM and say, we need to be using other technologies and so on. DG, if you can go and get that clip from SAFM, because I think we need to answer him, not roughly, but also say, if we have got other ideas as the Department of Science and Innovation, we are open to those ideas. Bring them here, let's examine them on what they are. Now, this accelerator then is clearly the premier atomic particle accelerator laboratory on the African continent and also, I'm told, in the Southern Hemisphere. It's become a hub for vibrant research, development, and collaboration network for nuclear sciences that also I'm proud it includes our universities, research institutions, and international counterparts. This DG underlines now the importance of what I've been pushing, that we do need funding facilities for what I call an African research agenda. This is very much part of an African research agenda in terms of production of isotopes, further research, and human resources development. Now, the workforce of NRF Ithemba Labs, of course, is the separated sector cyclotron, which was commissioned in 1985 to provide accelerated particle beams to 3 user groups for basic research, isotope production, and particle therapy. I also, of course, hope, Professor Mashabela, that as we do this stuff, we don't abandon basic research. I am a great proponent of basic research, and theory, by the way, because that's always the foundation for further development of what we are trying to do. I am not going into, because this thing has been, the SIFE has been explained very eloquently. I'm not going to pretend. In case also start biting my tongue, and you don't say a minister is biting his tongue, you say the minister was really floating, you know, and talking about all these sophisticated things. One of the most valuable lessons we learned from the advent of COVID-19 pandemic was that the capacity to produce our own medicine is extremely vital for our national response to the outbreak of pandemics. One of the things I would like us to do in this country, whilst I'm still minister, for the next 10 months or so, we will not do it in 10 months, but if we can lay a foundation, is really teaching the development of, as I have said, a multidisciplinary program for the study of pandemics. We have entered the age of pandemics. Now, NRF, I can see they are listening to me. I didn't mention this last night when we were discussing this. I really do think that we need a multidisciplinary center for the study of pandemics, since we have entered the era of pandemics. And the African continent is quite capable of doing that, not just for the African continent, but for the world as a whole. I am now absolutely convinced, just also looking and listening to what was being presented here. It is one of a few places in South Africa, where the complete manufacturing process to produce medicine, specifically medical-grade radioisotopes, take place. This includes, as it has been said, production facilities, chemical processing, quality assurance and control, filling and packaging under sterile conditions, as well as end-to-end logistics, marketing, and sales. The entire value chain almost in this sphere. These isotopes that are produced according to good manufacturing practice in specialized facilities, are used in a variety of instances, which I am not going to mention, as they have been mentioned, and that these products are being delivered throughout South Africa, Namibia, and the whole world. Not too far from the Union Buildings in Pretoria, in the Sfako Makgato Hospital in Ga-Rankuwa, radioisotopes are used for better and precise diagnostic in cancer patients, as Professor Setege has said. I would like to say to my Chief of Staff, we've been challenged, DG, to go and open that facility. And indeed, let's commit to that. And all that we are short of is a date, Prof. We must do that because we have to understand completely what we produce here, where does it go to, and what does it do. You have, of course, noted from the earlier presentation that the NRF Ithemba Labs is one of a few facilities in the world that produces the kinds of products that we are producing here. I was saying to Professor Mashabane, I'm more used to precision manufacturing, the idea of precision manufacturing. To me, this looks like precision medicine. He says, indeed, yes, we do talk about precision medicine. So, okay, you have helped me then to understand better what also we are doing here, which is something that is very important. Now, I'm no longer going to complain a bit, Dr. Nelumondo, that 40% of my budget goes to the NRF. Because I always say, gee whiz, this entity is so lucky, it takes 40% of my budget. Well, I can see today part of the justification.
He says, yes, we do talk about precision.
But you pay a price for that. You pay a price for that because once you do well, then you can't drop the ball.
Doing here, which is something
not even a bit. NgesiZulu, I don't know how you say this in English. If you do well, we expect you to do well all the time. Those who do badly, we can afford sometimes to even ignore them. But say those who are doing well, you shall continue. 1% drop, you are in trouble. Now, I do want to say that this unique South African capability also ensures security of supply for the local nuclear medicine community and positions this facility well as a global competitor. The drive to ensure that the availability of a research infrastructure platform that supports cutting-edge research and the development and growth of technical competence in and for South Africa prompted the strategic integration of the infrastructure renewal at Ithemba Labs in 2017. Now, I want to offer this. What are the human resource challenges and shortages do we have in order to take this forward as a country? I offered DG yesterday. Where is Thembisa Fuchane, the acting DG? There you are, of DHET. The National Skills Fund will have to go a long way in funding that gap in terms of producing the human resources capacity that we need in order to fully realize the potential of a facility like this. That's a commitment I'm making. Now, the establishment then of SAIF signals the start of a strong research and development prospect for the future through the production of alpha particle emitting radioisotopes and other groundbreaking theranostic isotopes working in collaboration with local and international partners. These novel radioisotopes have the potential capability to target and destroy cancer cells, as we have said. In fact, Prof, what you showed there is amazing in terms of the capabilities of these radioisotopes, while simultaneously providing diagnostic imagery of the tumor. In my simple language from Dambuza, in other words, in order to treat cancer, now with the potential of radioisotopes, you don't have to go all over where the cancer is around. You now have to go straight to the cell. Am I right? To where it's located. That's simple language now. There's huge and important capabilities, because sometimes when we talk about side effects, they derive from the fact that it's like we are searching in a forest, as to where the problem may be. This is very important advancement and truly South African. You have mentioned the number of patients who are benefiting from this. I must say that I am really impressed. You can see now, Ishmael, that there's a difference in writing a speech before you hear and giving a speech after you have heard, As Minister of Science and Innovation, amongst other things, I'm becoming innovative now, having heard what I've actually heard, I'm also excited about the impact that this has made and will continue to make with regards to job creation and its support of local industry. I'm told the project will cost 590 million rand and will create 157 job opportunities, which includes subcontractors, and provide 52 skilled and unskilled workers from local communities and 53 permanent jobs at Ithemba Labs over the next 4 years. This may not seem much, but it's important for a country that is so much short of jobs and other means of sustainable livelihoods. In addition, which excites me even more, the project will offer a dedicated research program from which an estimated 21 postgraduate students per annum will benefit. The project is also expected to open huge opportunities to train the next generation of accelerator physicists, engineers, and technicians. And I must say also that this project, the SIFE project, positions NRF, Ithemba Labs, and South Africa as a world leader in the real-world application of innovative science and technology for the benefit of mankind. I must tell you this short story. My DJ, Dr. Mjwara, has the habit of taking me to all these places saying, you are not a full Minister of Science unless you have gone to the SKA, for instance, and many other places. So he takes me to Washington, D.C., to this place called the National Institutes of Health. I'm sure most of you know better about that than me. So when we visit this place, the acting head, drops everything to hear that there's a South African Minister of Science who is in the building. So he comes and sits with us. He says, I really want to confess today, and I'm pleased I'm telling you directly. We apologize for having punished South Africa for having identified the Omicron variant of COVID-19. Yes. He said that led to saving more lives in the United States than anything else. Had you not identified that, we could have been worse. Apologies for having tried to isolate you and say we are now carrying another dangerous variant, and so on. I reminded them, did you, of what my US friend always says, that, what some of the developed countries were trying to do with COVID-19 is to say, if they provide vaccines for developed countries, then they will be fine, and the rest of the world can see to finish. So this American friend of mine, he says, how stupid can some people be? Because it's like we are all in a swimming pool, and then we say, that corner of the swimming pool, we reserve it for those who want to pee. And we won't be affected, the rest of us. Now, I'm using this because I'm just illustrating, really, the capacity that we have as South Africa for science. Now, this will not only improve our international standing through our research outputs, but will also strengthen and enhance our collaborations with similar research facilities abroad. The World Health Organization predicts that cancer will become the leading cause of death on the African continent by 2030. With available data, it is estimated that in 2020, almost 110,000 new cases of cancer were diagnosed in South Africa, with more than 56,000 cancer-related deaths, representing a quarter of premature, non-communicable disease-related mortality. This significant cancer burden is predicted to increase in the coming decades, with the incidence of new cancer cases expected to rise to 138,000 and 175,000 in 2030 and 2040, respectively. Cancer-related mortality is predicted to rise to 73,000 and 94,000 during the same period. The 5 most common cancers in South Africa. I've learned now, Prof. I've learned now, because I'm a Minister of Science, I can speak with such confidence that if I'm not in South Africa, they will say, wow, there goes that cancer specialist, you know. The 5 most common cancers in South Africa, I learned, in order of incidence, are breast, prostate, cervical, lung, and colorectal. However, of these 5 cancers, the leading cause of cancer-related mortality is lung cancer. Among women, although breast cancer has at least a 25% higher incidence, cervical carcinoma is the leading cause of mortality. This reality, therefore, underpins the need for the continent to provide access to the required radiopharmaceuticals and diagnostic infrastructure. This facility we are opening today is one of such efforts that we are putting as South Africa to deal with the prevalence of cancer in our country. And indeed, in the region, in the continent, and a contribution, I have no doubt, to science globally. In conclusion, I have no doubt that the South African Isotope Facility has the potential to reposition Ithemba Labs and South Africa as a world leader in the real-world application of innovative science and technology to the benefit of mankind. I wish to congratulate our entity, the NRF, and its management on this important milestone, and indeed also congratulate my DG and our department, and to congratulate all of you who have been involved in this. We do indeed look forward to more world-class scientific projects that are going to be produced by this facility. Thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this history-making event. Thank you very much.